Hello, this is Solving Systems of Equations by Substitution, Example 3. Example 3 is a story problem. Story problems are very difficult, but they are the most important part of algebra, and it's the whole reason for studying algebra, to get these equations and be able to solve these tricky, more difficult story problems. So, in this story problem, it talks about an internet service provider or a web hosting company, and a company needs to use one of these services. One of them costs $10 up front, a one-time fee, and then it's $21.95 per month. The other one has no setup fee, but it charges a little bit more per month, $22.45. With any of these story problems, you need to start getting it in your own words. You need to take ownership, and to do that you start writing it down in your own words, because in your own words it should make more sense to you. It should simplify it quite a bit. I did that for myself, and I've got the internet service provider costing $21.95, and I pay that each month, so it'll be multiplied times the number of months. And I also have to add this one-time charge of $10. The web hosting company is very similar. It's a little more per month, $22.45. Multiply that times the number of months, but I add 0 because there's no startup fee. You should think about what's going on here. For example, well, first of all, if you were doing this for yourself, you can do this for free because the amount of space that you need is limited, and there's plenty of companies that'll do this for free for you. But a company very often has so much information to store that they have to pay for this. So if you were just doing this for 1 month, let's say you were ordering your own web server and you just temporarily you need to use this. Well, if you were going to use the ISP, that 1 month is going to cost you $31.95, while the web hosting company is going to be much less expensive. It's just going to be $22.45 instead of $31.95. So in that circumstance, you'd certainly go with the web hosting company. However, if this was a long-term arrangement, you weren't buying your own and you were going to use this for a long time, then this $10 would be absorbed after a while, because you'd only be paying $21.95 instead of $22.45 a month. Think about this. What if this web host company was $22.95 per month? Well, that'd be an extra dollar each month. So after 10 months, this $10 would be absorbed. And after 10 months, you would be paying more per month, and that's how it equalizes out. And we have to figure out the number of months when these two costs will be exactly equal, so that you can make a decision to see which is the better buy for your company. So what I've written here, I think, are pretty much the equations. The cost for the ISP, I'll call that y, and I'll call the number of months x. That's 21.95x plus 10. That's the cost for the ISP. And for the web hosting company, I would have y equals 22.45 times the number of months, which I'm calling x. And these are my two equations. And the problem says, when are these two costs exactly the same? So when they're exactly the same, this is equal to this. So I can just set these two equal, solve it for x, and that'll tell me how many months before the two charges are exactly the same. So I'm going to say this is equal to this. So that's 22.45x equals 21.95x plus 10. And now I'll minus 2195 to both sides. And 2245 take away 2195 is 0.5. So I end up with 0.5x equals 10. Now, kind of a tricky equation. An inexperienced algebra person might think, oh, well, x equals 2. Well, that's not really true. This is very similar to this equation. If you have 2x equals 6, when you solve this, it ends up to be x equals 6 divided by 2, because you have to divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 3. Well, similarly, with 0.5x equals 10, the same way we had 6 divided by 2 here, we're going to have 6 divided by 0.5 here. And 10 divided by 0.5 is 20. And if you don't believe me, do it on a calculator. You'll see that 10 divided by 0.5 is 20. So the answer here is x equals 20. And in other equations and other systems of equations we solved, we had to figure out why. And in this particular example, it doesn't ask us to do that, so we don't have to. After 20 months, the costs will be exactly the same. If we substituted in 20 for the x in either of the equations, we would figure out what that cost is. But the question doesn't ask it, so we won't figure it out. The correct answer is x equals 20 months.